Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler Talk. Joining us today is an artist and feminist dedicated to political and social commentaries about our world today. Multi-awarded visual artist Nikki Luna celebrates the triumphs and the struggles of the Filipina in her latest exhibit, now at the CCP, called Multiple Burden. Nikki, it's good to have you here.
Hi, Maria. Thank you for having me.
So, first let's talk about why you're even having an exhibit at CCP right now. You are one of 13 artists who are essentially in the running for national artist. National artist up and coming, right?
No, not really. But it's done every 3 years. It was started by Chabet, I believe. And it's been going on for several decades now. And they take a pick of 13 artists that actually they feel that can actually contribute to society and to give voices about the world we live in the Philippines, specifically in the Philippines.
So 13 every 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? Every 3 years. And this year you are one of the 13.
Yeah.
I mean, people know you best for the guns.
Yeah.
I always go, sorry. But what characterizes your work? What is most important to you as an artist?
I think more importantly, it's the messages that I want to get across to the audience. So it's not just for the Filipinos, but for other people outside the Philippines to understand what's going on in here.
Right. And what are the key messages that have characterized your work?
Definitely, it's very feminist.
Right.
Although it did not start that way, but I eventually really focused on that after realizing so much that in developing countries, it's still very much an issue.
Right.
All the women's struggles.
Multiple Burden, what is it about?
There you go, Multiple Burden. In one of my works, there is a neon sign that actually says labor. And multiple burden is a term used by feminists, and it's about women who have encountered problems within the home because of exploitation or oppression within the home, because of low pay or no pay, and at the same time, there's no genuine democracy happening inside your home. Because you are dominated by a male figure. And this usually happens because we have a patriarchal society, especially among the marginalized, where they have to balance different roles. It's both working and the unpaid work, which is child rearing, nurturing, all these other things.
What keeps society alive, really, right?
Exactly.
Their children. And how do you look at this? How are Filipino women coping with it today?
I guess right now it's still in the process. It still needs a lot of work. The important thing is awareness, not just among these women who are going through it, but again, more so the educated ones who should be aware of the oppression and the exploitation happening. Once they recognize this, it's also not enough just to recognize it. You have to take action. You have to realize, what can I do to help these other women improve their lives?
So when people go to the CCP to watch this, you want them to come out and actually do something about it?
I want them to think. I don't demand that right away, because just like me, it didn't happen overnight.
Right.
It was a constant information. It was not conditioning, but realization, because it's what you see if you just immerse yourself. And so maybe through my work, through an artwork, and maybe other people's, other artists, other women artists who actually bring this out in their works, I want people to see and ask themselves, what can I do? Where do I stand in this? Because it has to be a collective effort to emancipate women.
We're an emerging economy, an emerging democracy. What role do you see art? It seems like you're an activist artist, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what role does art in general play in this society, given that we are an emerging democracy?
Definitely, art has a very strong role to play. It has power. It has power to change your mind. It has power to enlighten you. It has the power to, it's a different form of democracy. It's a different form of action. So artists have that special power and that privilege to actually use this as a tool to show it to more people in a non-evasive way, because it's non-verbal.
Yes.
You have to feel it, you have to see it, you have to know it and understand it. Then you know the art, you know the meaning. So
how do you define success for yourself?
how do I define success for myself? I guess, no, maybe for sure I can define my success only when I'm able to get across the audience. That's what's more important for me. It's not the awards, it's not being known, it's my work to be known. It's the messages, it's the concept, it's the meaning, the substance. It's the plight of those who are voiceless, who cannot articulate. I want that articulated through my work.
You've done many international exhibitions as well, right?
Yeah.
What's the reaction, and how do foreigners look at the Philippines through your lenses, through your art?
It's been very, very fruitful and fulfilling. Just like when I had the Aichi Triennale in Japan, a lot of the Japanese, even if they couldn't really speak English, they tried their best to talk to me, just to let me know that now they understand the plight of the OFWs, of the Filipina entertainers, that they do not stereotype them, that there is a need. That's why they are fleeing their own countries and sacrificing so much.
Is there enough support in the Philippines for artists like you? I mean, my next question, or you can answer this one first, I guess, is the difference between commercial art and the art you do. Or maybe there isn't a difference. How do artists make that distinction?
I can only speak for myself, but I've seen it. A lot of artists are drawn or on the edge of pushing themselves because they need to make money.
Right.
They need to sometimes have, I've heard them say some of their works has to be sellable. It has to appeal to a certain market because they also have to earn. They have families. And that's sad because sometimes there's that line where they have to cross, and so you don't know if that's half-hearted. But it's the lack of support. Maybe because sometimes even if the artist is chosen for a big art event abroad, the Philippine government or the institutions that could help them support actually don't get to support them, don't give them that.
So given where we are today, how do artists survive here?
They thrive and just learn to survive day by day, and they definitely have other means. Either they do they accept other jobs, another kind of field, or they do have other works that are more sellable. They stick to what sells more.
And when you say what sells more, how would you describe the Filipino market today in terms of art? Where are we? Are we sophisticated? What do we look for? How would you describe it?
Again, this is something that, in my own observations, I think majority, through my experience, a lot of people are still into two-dimensionals, or something they can take home. So that's a painting, or that's a sculpture, which is, there's no problem if you're really happy with it. But sometimes right now, art takes in different forms. You go in New York, you go in Europe, it comes in different forms. Sometimes it's just sound, sometimes just light, sometimes it's video, and they are valued. Because it's conceptual work, it's installation, it may be temporary, but knowing it and feeling it and having that once-in-a-lifetime experience by that artist is what you take home forever.
It's how it makes you feel, how it makes you think, how it changes your view of the world.
Definitely. So there's that I guess the Filipino market, they appreciate it. Don't get me wrong, they appreciate it.
Right.
But it's not something that's fully supported.
So in the U.S., in Western democracies, they have something like the National Endowment for the Arts. Do we
Yes.
have anything like that here?
I think there are, of course, but I'm not too familiar with everything. But of course, they have certain. I think if you're definitely a national artist, they give you something. As a CCP awardee, we were given a grant to make the works possible. But I guess it should go a little more further.
So my last question here is: oftentimes people say the society creates the artist draws on the society to create art. At the same time, the market itself makes the artist. That line between commercial and artistic, right? If the artist is trying to create something that the market wants,
Yeah.
right? So
Or
it's the mirror
market-driven,
or
yeah.
market driven, the mirror and the. Here, this is being too, but Plato's the myth of Plato's cave, where you're looking at the fire and you're not really. What are the limitations? Is it a positive or a negative to be a Filipino artist today?
Definitely a positive. I think in any other country, in every country, as long as you share a piece of who you are, where you're from, and you share the majority's plight or struggles, you are doing something as an artist.
You're very focused on those who don't have power. Most
Yes.
of those don't really look or buy art because they can barely survive, right? Do they see it? How do you determine success in what you do with the social issues?
I think the success in that is for those who are able to do something about it.
You want to move them, okay?
Yes, because let's say the ones who are in it, who are having problems, who are struggling, they do not experience the art. Sometimes they don't understand it,
Right.
because their needs are basic: food, shelter, clothing, or education. Right? That's all they need. No one thinks that, oh, I can paint, I can do this. No one needs that. But their stories, I can come across, I can give it to
Yep.
those who can do something about it. Those who are educated, who can actually pull these other people out of their suffering, and I mean, just help them. Just the same way as I think other artists should try to do with their other works.
This is the last question. The artist as a Filipino. I mean, there's been novels. The artist as a Filipino, Nikki Luna today. What drives the state of art today? The artist as a Filipino. How would you describe that today?
It's kind of hard to describe that as a whole.
In how would you describe where you are today, the artist as a Filipino?
Me, definitely, I am still towards I want to liberate, and I want more people to be out of the oppression, to be in a just and equitable society, not just for women, but also for men. I think that's a basic definition of being a feminist, and I apply it through my work. And as an artist, this is how I see. I'm always in that state. I think I'll always be there, and it's always going to evolve because it depends on the needs.
Has it improved? How do you see the conditions today of women
it's still we're still working, but right now there's improvement because the younger generation are not that afraid as before when they hear the word feminism or women's rights. I'm just hoping it doesn't become a trend, just a trend.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you, CCP.
Thank you. September 3 was the opening, and till October 25.
Multiple Burden by Nikki Luna. We've been speaking to visual artist Nikki Luna about art, society, the Filipina, labor, there's more. She's on Twitter at Nikki Luna. Follow her, ask questions. Thanks so much. I'm Maria Ressa. Thanks for watching.